Welcome into Off the Hook Sports. I am your host, Caleb Calhoun. A lot to get to today. We are going to discuss Tennessee's injury report. I have a column up that I think it's the best injury report Tennessee could have asked for when you consider the news elsewhere. The 5 key Bulldogs to watch for against the Vols, who will be key in that game. Joey Aguilar is making his first road start in the SEC. Should that be a concern, or will his experience outweigh that? We've got Jordan Matthews taking a weird shot at Tennessee. That's going to be what the H? Sidney Thomas and Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin slid into Sidney Thomas's DMs. We're going to talk about that and our picks and bets after a really, really bad week last week. We're going to try to rectify that this week. So we're going to have a little fun with that. So hit that like and subscribe button, ring the bell, turn on your notifications, tell a friend. Again, building something great here at Also Sports. Want you to be a part of it. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney. Play to win, why settle? Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones. BanksandJones.com. We broadcast to you live every weekday, 10 a.m. Eastern from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln studio. Ted Russell Ford Lincoln is your home for the finest vehicles in Knoxville. New and used, East Tennessee's largest Ford and Lincoln volume dealer. A quick update for you guys real quick based on some information I have because, again, Dave's still not here today. This situation that he's got to take care with is going to keep him out a little bit longer than we hoped. I believe he's out at least through October the 7th. I need you guys to know that up front. Again, just keep him in your thoughts. My understanding as of right now is he'll be out probably through October the 7th. That is a Monday. That's a week from, no, October the 7th is a Wednesday, isn't it? October the 7th, I believe, is a Wednesday. You guys correct me on that, but I could be wrong on that. But isn't October the 7th no, it's a Monday. It's a Monday. Okay, so October the 7th, I think is today's Thursday. Next week will be the 2nd. The week after that would be the 9th. It'll be October the 7th is a Tuesday. Okay, so October the 7th is a Tuesday. And he will be out at least through then. We're going to try to hopefully he'll be back after that. I know he's trying to resolve this matter and he's working diligently to do it, but it's just going to be me up until that point. So again, smash that like and subscribe button, ring the bell, turn on your notifications. It is time to get rolling, and we're going to get rolling with the Vol report. The Vol report today discusses Tennessee's injury news. Tennessee football got arguably the best injury news possible on Wednesday, and not just from the official injury report. The expectations of when guys are coming back is something Tennessee could not ask for more of, could not ask for a better situation of. And it puts a lot more onto this Mississippi State game, because if Tennessee can just get past Mississippi State, they will be looking at a potential elite run coming off their bye. Why is this injury report so good? Well, we're going to talk about that now, and it is the Vol report brought to you by Hometown Realty LLC. Go to ryancoleman.org. That's right, Hometown Realty LLC. Go to ryancoleman.org. Knoxville's best from 2017 to 2022. Download the app, get instant updates, personalized searches, and more. ryancoleman.org. Again, that's ryancoleman.org. The official injury report for Tennessee ahead of the Mississippi State Bulldogs is some positive, most in the dark, because Josh Heupel likes to keep things in the dark. The official injury report says that Jackson Moy is probable. Dwayne Morris is questionable. David Sanders is questionable. David Hobbs, Jermon McCoy, Ricky Gibson, Radarius Jackson, and Hunter Barnes are out. Jackson Moy being probable is a strongly positive sign for Tennessee. But it's not the only positive sign for Tennessee. Because on top of Jackson Moy being probable, he posted on his Instagram Tuesday night, I believe something like "Thank God, ready to go," and then it was taken down. And most of us believe that it was taken down because Heupel told him he wanted to keep that under wraps. Then Pete Nakos of All in 3 reported that Moy is expected to play on Saturday. This is a huge deal already. because Jackson Moy playing gives Tennessee's defensive line a huge boost, because one of the problems that cost them against Georgia was they just got tired on the defensive line late in the game because they were playing too many snaps, because they got 2 banged up defensive linemen that they need both back. We knew David Hobbs would take a little while. Jackson Moy needed to get back. They needed Jackson Moy back, and now it looks like they're going to have him back. Nakos is reporting he's expected back. He implied on his Instagram he's expected back, and Heupel officially listed him as probable. But that's not even the biggest news. The other news is that by being day-to-day for David Sanders, he could be ready to go Saturday, but even if he's not, he's almost certain to be ready to go in their next game against Arkansas 2 weeks from Saturday. They have a bye next week, which is actually not a bad game to plug him in at right tackle and get him to develop and give more flexibility on the offensive line before the gauntlet begins, because I don't think Arkansas counts as the gauntlet. Now, here's the big news. David Hobbs and Jermod McCoy are also, according to Pete Nakos of On3, both expected to be back, are both gunning for the Arkansas game to return. That is huge. That's huge, because if they can get back for the Arkansas game, then that is, again, the perfect game for them to get back into rhythm. Those two have a game to get back into rhythm. David Sanders has a game to get his feet wet playing right tackle on the offensive line at the college football level. And then right after that, they will all be full go as themselves after a tune-up game, just as the gauntlet begins, where they visit Alabama, visit Kentucky, and host Oklahoma. And then Tennessee could be in great shape going into November. Now, taking all this into account, this is a huge deal, and it might be the best news of all. 2 problems cost Tennessee against Georgia. The defensive line got tired. Jackson Moy being back would have helped that, and David Hobbs coming back after the break will significantly help that. The other problem is they didn't have a true island cornerback who could lock things down. You bring Jermod McCoy back, he can do that. You shut down one side of the field. And that is, so all of a sudden, if all those guys come back, and they tune up for one game against Arkansas, where Tennessee's at home and will want revenge and will not lose that game. I'm telling you guys right now, they will not lose that game. Well, then you're looking at a program that has the defense finally catching up to an offense that's putting up a ton of numbers. And at that point, they could get on a roll. So then everything hinges on Saturday against Mississippi State. If they can just get past this game. Having Jackson Moy back is going to help them get past this game. So I'm going to actually ask you guys, this is the poll question up right now. What is the best injury news for Tennessee football? And I'll let you guys pick. Jackson Moy expected back versus MSU. Jermod McCoy expected for Arkansas. We'll say David Hobbs expected for Arkansas. Hold on. Almost done. Or David Sanders Jr. day to day. So you guys debate that. Jackson Moy expected back versus MSU. Jermod McCoy expected back versus Arkansas. David Hobbs expected back for Arkansas. David Sanders Jr. day to day. I think it's a combination of one of the two. I think it's either Jermod McCoy back for Arkansas or Jackson Moy back for Mississippi State. David Hobbs back for Arkansas is good, but it's not as good as Jackson Moy being back this week, obviously. Meanwhile, Jermod McCoy coming back. Jermod McCoy totally changes the complexion of the defense. So him being expected back for Arkansas is a huge deal. And also, Colton Hood is now drawing a lot of scouts' eyeballs. He's all of a sudden a projected first-round draft pick for his play at cornerback this year, okay? You get Jermod McCoy back, you got 2 NFL corners starting on either side. Boo Carter is getting better by the week on the defensive side of the ball. He was a little rusty at first because of all the issues and shenanigans in the offseason. He seems ready to go. You get Jermod McCoy back with Boo Carter now at his full self, and then on the other side, Colton Hood. And then you get Jalen McMurray and Ty Redmond that you can alternate in and around to make plays off the bench. You're in really good shape. Trust me on that. Now, again, no real timetable on 2 other key players in the injury report that really stand out. And one of those is notably Ricky Gibson III. The other one is Dwayne Morris, neither one is. Dwayne Morris is not going to play in significant time this year as a freshman running back. Peyton Lewis, Deshaun Bishop, and Star Thomas are the running backs. Rodarius Jackson is out this week. Rodarius Jackson is not. Again, you still have Joaquin Dotson and Travis Smith Jr. Rodarius Jackson is a backup receiver. Hypo usually sticks with his three, and his three are Chris Brazzell, Mike Matthews, and Braylon Staley. Hunter Barnes also out of running back. He's a walk-on. You're not expecting much from him. There's no timetable for their returns, and that was to be expected. But the big story is the best injury news for Tennessee football specifically is Jermon McCoy and Jackson Moy, and then David Hobbs and David Sanders Jr. to a lesser degree. The poll question up, what is the best injury news for Tennessee football? Looks like 56% of you say Jermon McCoy expected back for Arkansas. 44% say Jackson Moy expected back versus MSU, Mississippi State. Now, I'm very mixed on this because I'm not so sure. I do believe Tennessee needed Jackson Moy, one of their defensive tackles, back to make sure they beat Mississippi State. But they definitely needed a little more back if they were going to make a run in October, November, December, and November for the college football playoff. Well, it's tough for me, but I think I'm going to lean with the majority slightly. Jermon McCoy expected back for Arkansas because I think they still could have beaten Mississippi State without Jackson Moy, even though it would have been tough. Contrary to popular belief, I think it still would have been tough. I know they couldn't have run the table if they didn't have Jermon McCoy or David Hobbs back at some point in the season. So having Jermon McCoy back for Arkansas is a really big deal. Again, it's expected. That's what he's gunning for. If McCoy is back, you have a huge advantage. Now, again, another big advantage for this is Ty Redmond now, yes, he's been picked on a lot, but he's learning as a freshman on the fly. And now that he's been picked on so much, he's actually probably going to be a lot better the rest of the way. So he could probably still be a solid backup along with Jalen McMurray. And again, Ricky Gibson III is going to come back eventually. It'll be later in the year, but still, they could all be solid backups for Tennessee. They'll have depth at cornerback, which will really help the safeties who have issues. So taking all of this into account, I believe Jermon McCoy being expected back is probably the best news for Tennessee. At the same time, I do believe that Tennessee is in great shape overall with the news that these guys are expected back. And I think that this is something that everybody should be thrilled about in Knoxville. It's very impressive that Tennessee could get all these guys back, and it's obviously exactly what they needed. So we're going to see how this plays out. But overall, having these guys back is a huge deal. Portions of the program brought to you by Chattanooga Mortgage. Congratulations, your home search just got easier. Buying a home in Chattanooga has never been easier. Chat with 2tsmortgage.com. Chat with 2tsmortgage.com. It is time for today's tough question, and it involves Joey Aguilar. When Tennessee takes the field at Mississippi State on Saturday, it will be Joey Aguilar's first road start against a Power 5 school. Today's tough question, brought to you by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, play to win, play to why settle, Banks & Jones by T. Scott Jones, BanksandJones.com, is this. When Joey Aguilar takes the field on Saturday, will playing on the road be a problem for him? Is he ready for the road environment of the SEC? That's a really tough question, guys. I'm going to be honest. And that's a difficult one to answer because while Joey Aguilar looks the part, you never know on the road. And you're playing a team riding high on a wave of momentum with those darn cowbells in Mississippi State. It's a tougher road environment than your typical road environment, if we're being honest. So when you take that into account, it could be a very, very, very difficult situation for Tennessee to manage and a quarterback, even though a quarterback like Joey Aguilar to manage. So again, the question becomes Joey Aguilar in a road environment. How difficult will this be? I think that the road environment for Tennessee and Joey Aguilar will be fine. Let Let me explain. We just saw Gunnar Stockton go to Tennessee in his first road start and light it up. Tennessee is not taking this game lightly. Tennessee is not taking this game lightly because of what has been going on, because of what happened with Georgia. Joey Aguilar is a guy who processes quickly. He is also a guy who is in his 6th year playing college football. He's not foreign to Power 4 road environments. He played a couple with Appalachian State, lost both of them, but he's familiar with them. Given his experience, given his ability to process, I believe that Joey Aguilar will be totally fine playing on the road because Joey Aguilar's experience will outweigh his inability to process. Or not his inability, will outweigh the noise. His ability to process quickly will outweigh this. If this were Nico Imaliava, we might be having a different conversation. But I don't think the road environment is going to impact Joey Aguilar, even though this is his first bit of experience playing at the Power 5 level. It is not just his experience, by the way, overall playing college football and his ability to process. It's his moxie. You can see confidence in quarterbacks a lot of times when they play. And Joey Aguilar just has that confidence. He's got that moxie. He's not scared to make throws. When you're not scared to make throws, you're not scared of a road environment. Now, the scared part is not what makes a road environment hard a lot of times. What makes a road environment hard is just the communication factor. But, and this has been a problem with Josh Heupel, by the way, since he's been at Tennessee, is Tennessee doesn't communicate as well on the road. But Joey Aguilar has been able to turn up the tempo a lot more. And for those who don't understand the way Heupel's offense works, is when you're running that tempo, there's not as much communication required because the quarterback gets to the line and they don't really talk. You just read the safety. You read the safety, you read the guy in front of you, and you make your decision on what to do then. One of the reasons that communication on the road has been an issue in the past is nobody's been able to run this offense at this pace at Tennessee under Josh Heupel, not even Hendon Hooker. The faster you're running, the less you're communicating, believe it or not. You are just expecting the receiver and you to see the same thing when you are on the field. Because of that, and because Joey Aguilar is running this offense at such a high pace, I believe that the road environment is not going to hurt Joey Aguilar at all. Now, I'm going to set that up as a poll question. First of all, the poll question I did have has flipped. Best injury news for Tennessee football. Now, Jackson Moy expected back for Mississippi State leads at 57%. Jamal McCoy expected back for Arkansas at 43%. Here's going to be my next poll question. Will playing in his first SEC road game be an issue for Joey Aguilar? We'll say yes, it always is for QBs. No, he's too experienced. No, he's got the moxie. We'll do with that. Yes, it always is for quarterbacks. No, he's too experienced. No, he's got the moxie. You guys go ahead and vote on that now. I got the poll question up. Today's tough question brought to you by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney. Play to win. Why settle? Banks & Jones on by T. Scott Jones. BanksandJones.com.
Why Banks & Jones? Well, it's because they're Tennessee's trial attorney. You can play to win with Banks & Jones because they'll go to trial. You've heard of other lawyers. They say they'll go to trial and fight for you. They won't. They just want to settle. That's the easiest way out. Well, that's not Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones. They won't settle. They'll go to trial for you. Tennessee's trial attorney. They play to win. Truly, Tennessee's trial attorney when it comes to criminal defense or personal injury. Why settle? It's Banks & Jones. T. Scott Jones. BanksandJones.com.
The poll question up, will playing in his first SEC road game be an issue for Joey Aguilar? Yes, it always is for quarterbacks, 9%. No, he's too experienced, 27%. No, he's got the moxie, 64%. I should have added a fourth, which is no, he's too experienced and he's got the moxie. I think the experience and the moxie is going to help him. But the other part is, again, it's the way he's running Josh Heupel's offense. Finally, an underrated part of this, and we're going to talk about this with Key Bulldogs Watch 4 against the Vols, and we talked about this yesterday. Tennessee's path to beating Mississippi State is not Joey Aguilar throwing the ball as much. Not that he can't do that, by the way, but we know Mississippi State's weakness. They got issues up front. They have trouble stopping the run. With that in mind, Tennessee should do everything they can to run all over the Bulldogs. And and honestly, I think running all over the Bulldogs is how they are going to win this game. They need to torch them on the ground. Arizona State had 2 100-yard rushers against them. Tennessee should do the same thing. Just keep it on the ground and run it. And when you're running it, there's not as much communication required on offense anyway. So with that in mind, I think the biggest reason that Joey Aguilar is not going to have a problem with this Tennessee offense has to do with the fact that I think Tennessee is going to keep it on the ground. And I think they're going to torch them on the ground. And it's not because Joey Aguilar couldn't beat them through the air. It's that they don't need to beat him through the air. And Mississippi State's biggest weakness is on the ground. So when you take that into account, I'm very, very big on Mississippi State, on Tennessee running the ball, the road environment not affecting them. And with that in mind, Tennessee is going to end up winning this game if they do by running the football. And at that point, the crowd noise won't be a factor. But again, Joey Aguilar's communication is not going to be necessary if it does become a factor. And the biggest reason it's not going to be necessary if it does become a factor has to do with the fact that Joey Aguilar runs this offense at such a high pace. When you run the tempo, there is no communication. Again, the reason other offenses have struggled in the past is they don't always run tempo, but they go no huddle. When you go no huddle without tempo, you are communicating. And when you're communicating, it's a little bit more difficult on the road. Joey Aguilar doesn't have to communicate. He keeps the tempo going nonstop. And again, everybody gets to the line of scrimmage and everybody's taught to just read the field. The quarterback and the receiver are all taught to read the safety. Okay. All you have to do is communicate with the running back right next to you at that point on whether or not you're going to hand it off to him or not. And again, I guess that's a bit of a big deal because Tennessee's going to have to run it more in this game, but it's not hard to communicate that way. I see a lot of people on the message boards comparing Joey Aguilar to Casey Clausen. I actually agree. That's a very good point. Joey Aguilar is very similar to Casey Clausen, I feel like, with the moxie that they have on the road. Now, Clausen actually, there's something Joey Aguilar does better than Clausen. That's get rid of the ball. Clausen was not as comfortable a lot of times under pressure if you got to him, but he was still very, very good on the road and very clutch at the same time. Portions of the program are brought to you by Hemp House, the premier hemp dispensary online with a wide variety, great selection of strict standards. Hemp House, chat with 2Ts.com, Hemp House, chat with 2Ts.com. Use the promo code HOOKED for 10% off. When we come back, we're going to talk about the 5 key Bulldogs to watch for against the Vols. Stick with us. 2 minutes off the Hook Sports.
Why Banks & Jones? Well, it's because they're Tennessee's trial attorney. You can play to win with Banks & Jones because they'll go to trial. You've heard of other lawyers. They say they'll go to trial and fight for you. They won't. They just want to settle. That's the easiest way out. Well, that's not Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones. They won't settle. They'll go to trial for you. Tennessee's trial attorney. They play to win. Truly, Tennessee's trial attorney when it comes to criminal defense or personal injury. Why settle? It's Banks & Jones. T. Scott Jones. BanksandJones.com.
Hello, ma'am. I'm here to look at that plumbing problem.
Oh boy. Yep. You're gonna need a whole new sink.
If this toilet is no good,
You're gonna need a new one ASAP.
you are not gonna believe this. You're all out of milk. Have you heard about our service plan?
I need to call Scott's.
Scott's Plumbing, your trusted neighborhood plumber since 1977.
Community banking is about location and much more. It's about family. We reside in your community. We are a part of your community. At Commercial Bank, our commitment extends beyond the walls of our branches. It's displayed each day in the opportunities we provide, the money we give back, and the time we commit, all to help improve the lives of the people, families, and businesses that make our communities great. Commercial Bank, life made better.
Having been in the jewelry industry for a long time in the Knoxville community, I saw a need for a jeweler, a real jeweler.
Our ability to do these designs has really been based on the customers bringing new things in and challenging us as a store. Our goal is not to tell anybody what they want. Our goal is to listen to what they want and then help them get there.
Schedule your consultation today to get your special someone the perfect custom gift just in time for the holidays.
Welcome back to the program. hit that like and subscribe button, ring that bell, turn on your notifications, and tell a friend. Building something great here at Off the Hook wants you to be a part of it. It is time for this day in Tennessee football history. And on this day, we're going to go back to 2010 because Tennessee did just beat UAB. Well, in 2010, under Derek Dooley, Tennessee beat UAB at home, needing 2 overtimes to do it. I kid you not, they needed 2 overtimes to beat UAB. Yeah, that was the Derek Dooley years. Nobody was really shocked by that would be the case. It just really speaks to how embarrassing Tennessee was during that era, needing 2 overtimes to beat UAB. The funny thing is, a week later, they faced, I kid you not, LSU on the road, took them to the final play, and that was the 13 men on the field that cost them. That was one of the wildest moments I think I've ever witnessed in college football. And to this day, I am shocked at how that played out. But yeah, no, they needed 2 overtimes to beat, again, let me say it again, UAB against them. It was wild. It was wild. It was one of the most embarrassing moments for Tennessee during that time. This day in Tennessee sports history, brought to you by Sports Treasures, carrying over 5 million sports treasures and so much more. Follow on Facebook for the best sports memorabilia, facebook.com/sports treasures TN, facebook.com/sports treasures TN.
Sports Treasures in North Knoxville is one of the South's largest sports cards and memorabilia dealers, featuring over 10 million sports cards from vintage to modern. Sports Treasures carries a full line of hobby boxes, singles, autographed memorabilia, Tennessee Vol collectibles, fan cave decorations, and so much more. See a museum full of collectibles at Sports Treasures, 4819 North Broadway in Fountain City, and Sports Treasures on Facebook. Sports Treasures, where the real sports fan goes to shop.
All right, you guys, hit that like and subscribe button, ring the bell, turn on your notifications, tell a friend. It is now time for 4 Downs, and it's brought to you by Ted Russell Ford. We are live from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln studio. Ted Russell Ford Lincoln is your home for the finest vehicles in Knoxville, new and used, East Tennessee's largest Ford and Lincoln volume dealer. What is 4 Downs? What are we bringing to you today? Well, 4 Downs today involves the 5 key Mississippi State Bulldogs to watch for against Tennessee. Tennessee's matchup with Mississippi State is going to be very intriguing in a lot of ways, not the least of which Josh Heupel and Jeff Levy and their connections to each other. They coached together when Heupel was head coach at UCF and Levy was the offensive coordinator under him for their first few years. They went undefeated together. That was back in 2018. So now it is time to talk about who will be key for Mississippi State in this game. Mississippi State went from 2-10 to now 4-0 this year. A lot of it has to do with the schedule they played, and beating Arizona State at home in a thrilling matchup. But it also has to do with the fact that they went the transfer portal route, added a lot of players, and a lot of people have gotten more experience in the Jeff Levy system. And Levy, like Heupel and everybody else that runs this offense, threw some new wrinkles in the offseason because people were starting to figure it out next year. Taking all that into account, what is the likelihood of any Mississippi State players having an impact in this game? Well, I think it's actually pretty good, honestly. And I'm going to break down why here. Again, it's 4 Downs. Brought to you by Ted Russell Ford. With Dave not here, I will continue to do the soundboard impersonating Cooper Mays. So, Cooper Mays here. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Coop, for those who don't know, and I say this every time. Dave has a soundboard when he's here and we do 4 Downs, and he uses Cooper Mays to tee us off. And without him, I am going to do it on my own. So now, bringing it in, Coop here. First down. The 5 key Bulldogs to watch for against the Tennessee Vols. And first down starts with 2 players in the trenches. One is Jure Bledsoe. Now, a big advantage for Tennessee in this game, and it's unfortunate, you hate to see these things happen, but they do happen in football, is Mississippi State's best defender through 4 games was Will Whitson. He was a defensive end who plays on the line. And basically, he had 2 sacks, 5 tackles for a loss, 8 combined tackles, but he is now out. But who made Will Whitson go a lot of times was Jure Bledsoe in the middle. Jure Bledsoe in the middle has a tackle for a loss, 7 total tackles, 2 of which were solo. He's a nose tackle. He clogs the middle. He doesn't rack up stats. His job is to get a push to free things up for everybody else. Tennessee should win this battle with him on Saturday. I told you guys the way to beat Mississippi State is to run it down their throat. And I had Wendell Moe Jr. as one of my key Vols in this game. The guy on the other side that he'll oftentimes be going against will be Jure Bledsoe. Tennessee will have to contain him at all costs, because if they don't, then Mississippi State can really make this a game. The way you're going to beat Mississippi State is running the ball down their throat. You have to run it, and don't stop running it until they make you, okay? Until they commit everybody up, at which point you can beat them over the top. Because I firmly believe there is no way Mississippi State beats Tennessee if Tennessee controls the line of scrimmage on the interior. And I think they should control the line of scrimmage on the interior. But it'll come down to the Wendell Moe versus Jure Bledsoe battle, which is why Jure Bledsoe is on this list. Sticking in the trenches, though, and this is still first down, is on the other side for Mississippi State is Cannon Boone. Cannon Boone is the starting center for Mississippi State. Honorable mentions here. I want to point this out. Fluff Bothwell and Devon Booth. Okay, those are the 2 running backs for Mississippi State. Booth started as the star running back this year, the expected starter for Mississippi State. He's only averaging 4.5 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns, 178 yards from scrimmage. Fluff Bothwell has been the elite superstar running back, the breakout guy for Mississippi State. He is averaging 5.8 yards from scrimmage per carry, has 300 yards from scrimmage, 4 total touchdowns, 47 carries, 271 yards total. The 2 have combined for 7 touchdowns. Fluff Bothwell may seem like the star, but it all actually comes down to the blocking Boone has done up front. Remember when I told you guys that Bryson Eason was going to be crucial in this game too? He was on my list. It's because of Cannon Boone up at center for Mississippi State. Very rarely do I put an offensive lineman on this list, but Boone is key. Bothwell and Booth get mentioned, but Boone is the guy that makes them go. So Boone is the one you need to pay attention to. So the interior, the nose tackle, and the center from Mississippi State are going to be key for Tennessee to contain. Bothwell and Booth are both a result of Boone. Okay. Cooper Mays here. Second down. Thank you, Coop. Did I say first down? Coop here, first down. All right. Well, there we go. Now we got second down from Coop. All right. Anthony Evans III. Now, Brennan Thompson gets a shout out. Brennan Thompson is the leading receiver on the team. 17 catches for 291 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he has 18 touches for 301 yards from scrimmage because he also has a 10-yard carry. And it was a 10-yard carry for a touchdown, by the way. So he's got 301 yards from scrimmage and 4 touchdowns. Here's the thing, though. Thompson did have that 58-yard touchdown grab to beat Arizona State, that thrilling play. But Anthony Evans overall is the more productive player. Evans has more yards from scrimmage. He has 1 less yard receiving because Thompson has 291 yards. Anthony Evans has 290 yards. And he has 1 less touchdown receiving and 2 less overall. Thompson has 4. Anthony Evans has 2. However, Evans has 4 more catches than Thompson. And he has more yards from scrimmage, total 311 to Thompson's 301, because he's got 3 carries for 21 yards. They're both used somewhat in the running game. And most notably for Evans is the punt returner. And guys, Evans is a superb punt returner. He is averaging 14.3 yards per punt return. He's got 9 returns for 129 yards. He is averaging 14.3 yards per punt return. That is an incredibly good stat. It is only a matter of time before he runs one back. So Tennessee has got to account for him at all times. They got to account for Brennan Thompson too, but the biggest offensive weapon, skill player they have on the outside, I would say, is Anthony Evans III. Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down. Third down is the one all SEC player that Tennessee had this year. I mean, that Mississippi State had going into this year, and that is Isaac Smith. Isaac Smith is the Boo Carter of their team. He plays in the nickel spot, and he sometimes plays up at linebacker, sometimes plays in the secondary, and he's great at both. He's got 24 combined tackles, 22 of which were solo, and an interception and a pass deflection. Isaac Smith is the one player that is going to be absolutely devastating for them. They've really got to keep an eye on him the entire time, because if they don't, they will choke in this game, and it could be a problem. He could be all over the field, and he could really snuff out some issues for them on offense. So Isaac Smith is the guy, particularly with the way Tennessee works the middle of the field now, which is a great new wrinkle Josh Heupel has thrown in. Isaac Smith is the guy they've got to keep an eye on all the time. Forward Downs brought to you by Ted Russell Ford Lincoln, your home for the finest vehicles in Knoxville. New and used, use Tennessee's largest Ford and Lincoln volume dealer. Fourth down coming up after a quick message from Ted Russell Ford Lincoln.
A beacon of hope in a world of high prices. Look to the skies, Knoxville. Super savings is here. Ted Russell Ford is East Tennessee's #1 Volume Ford dealer.
Right now, get 0% APR, 0 down, and 0 payments for 90 days on select models, plus 2 years complimentary maintenance.
Come see the super dealer today at either Ted Russell Ford location, Parkside Drive, or Kingston Pike.
All SEC Center, Cooper Mays here. Fourth down. All right, Cooper Mays brings us fourth down, and fourth down is this. The most important player for Mississippi State that Tennessee will have to keep an eye on, and this really isn't shocking to anybody given what we just saw, but I'm going to say it is Blake Shapen, their quarterback. Blake Shapen, the quarterback. Blake Shapen, so far this year, is completing 67% of his passes for 884 yards. That's 8.8 yards per attempt, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He also has 71 rushing yards and another touchdown. He is there. They're trying to make him their Hendon Hooker running this offense. And he came from Baylor before he transferred to Mississippi State last year. Saw some experience. Before he transferred to Mississippi State last year, played in 4 games last year at Mississippi State, and has fully taken over as the starting quarterback this year, after he was backing up Michael Van Buren for most of last year. Blake Shapen is an elite quarterback now. He looks like he's a very dangerous guy. Mississippi State has turned a corner with him. Tennessee has got to keep an eye on Blake Shapen at all costs. If they don't, they will be in trouble. Okay. Because again, this is a very, very, very dangerous game for Tennessee if Blake Shapen gets hot, and he can get hot. All right. And Tennessee knows firsthand about quarterbacks that can torch you when they get hot. That has always been an issue for them. And truth be told, sometimes it feels like it happens to Tennessee more than it happens to other teams, but it's usually when they're playing Florida or when they're playing Georgia or somebody like that. But Blake Shapen, I do believe, is a key guy for Tennessee to keep an eye on if they want to win this game. So that was 4 downs, brought to you by Ted Russell Ford Lincoln. Ted Russell Ford Lincoln is your home for the finest vehicles in Knoxville. New and used, East Tennessee's largest Ford and Lincoln volume dealer. Portions of the program are brought to you by HoundDogs of Knoxville. Champions look good in orange. HDKnoxville.com. HDKnoxville.com. When we come back, Jordan Matthews is weirdly taking some shots at Tennessee by being at Vanderbilt. And this is going to be what the H, and we're going to discuss this. Stick with us. 2 minutes off the hook. Sports.
It's a new year, a new day, and Ted Russell Lincoln has an exciting new offer to share. Right now, get a 2024 Lincoln Navigator with 0% APR for 72 months and up to $4,000 in bonus cash. Or drive away in a new 2024 Lincoln Corsair Grand Touring with 0% APR for 60 months and up to $4,500 in bonus cash. It's time to get excited about the ride. Come and see what a luxury car experience truly is at Ted Russell Lincoln Knoxville.
Hello, ma'am. I'm here to look at that plumbing problem.
Oh boy. Yep. You're gonna need a whole new sink.
If this toilet is no good,
You're gonna need a new one ASAP.
you are not gonna believe this. You're all out of milk. Have you heard about our service plan?
I need to call Scott's.
Scott's Plumbing, your trusted neighborhood plumber since 1977.
Having been in the jewelry industry for a long time in the Knoxville community, I saw a need for a jeweler, a real jeweler.
Our ability to do these designs has really been based on the customers bringing new things in and challenging us as a store. Our goal is not to tell anybody what they want. Our goal is to listen to what they want and then help them get there.
Schedule your consultation today to get your special someone the perfect custom gift just in time for the holidays.
Sports Treasures in North Knoxville is one of the South's largest sports cards and memorabilia dealers, featuring over 10 million sports cards from vintage to modern. Sports Treasures carries a full line of hobby boxes, singles, autographed memorabilia, Tennessee Vol collectibles, fan cave decorations, and so much more. See a museum full of collectibles at Sports Treasures, 4819 North Broadway in Fountain City, and Sports Treasures on Facebook. Sports Treasures, where the real sports fan goes to shop.
All right, welcome back to Off the Hook Sports. Hit that like and subscribe button. Again, ring that bell, turn on your notifications, tell a friend. As I always say, building something great here at Off the Hook Sports. Want you to be a part of it. Let's keep it going with Jordan Matthews, who has decided to totally embarrass himself in a way that I didn't think was possible, but he did. The former Tennessee football defensive back Jordan Matthews has transferred to Vanderbilt and is playing on Vanderbilt now, and recently decided to say he's on the winning side of this quote-unquote rivalry. What the H? What the H brought to you by Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. Looking for affordable game day jewelry, a Tennessee tradition. They want to be your jeweler, rickterryjewelry.com. This is a clip of what Jordan Matthews had to say yesterday about facing Tennessee while now playing for Vanderbilt. I kid you not.
Actually been pretty cool. Definitely some of my guys back at Tennessee giving me some stuff for it, but and then some people here giving me some stuff for it too. But I feel like it's a nice rivalry. It's deep and rich, and I feel like I embrace the fact that I'm on the other side of it, and now I'm on the winning side of it.
Now you're on the winning side of it. Jordan Matthews said he's on the winning side of the Tennessee Vanderbilt game by playing for Vanderbilt. Now, let's not forget this. Jordan Matthews was a commitment to Tennessee, I believe, in the 2022 class, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he was in the 2022 class. So he redshirted in 2022. And was he in the 2023 class, actually? He might have been in the 2023 class. Yes, he was in the 2023 class. He came in with Ricky Gibson III. Both were in competition to be one of the starting cornerbacks. I thought they would both be the starting cornerbacks by 2024, but Tennessee went and got Jamon McCoy. And I thought Jordan Matthews was going to be the bigger star between him and Gibson, and Ricky Gibson III ended up stepping in as the star cornerback. But Jordan Matthews ended up not playing and transferred. Totally fine. No issue. Not even an issue going to Vanderbilt. You go where you can play. Jordan Matthews was already on the winning side of the rivalry. He was 2-0. He transferred by definition to the losing side of the rivalry because he transferred to the team that had lost to the team he was playing on for 2 years in a row. And actually, it's gone longer than that because Tennessee's last loss to Vanderbilt was in 2018. So unless you count the two they have to forfeit under Jeremy Pruitt. So Jordan Matthews saying that he's on the winning side. Well, let's think about this. Tennessee leads the all-time series 79-32-5. Tennessee has won 6 straight in the series on the field, 4 straight on record. When Jordan Matthews was at Tennessee, he won 2 straight against Vanderbilt in 2023 and 2024. And he thinks by transferring to Vanderbilt, he's on the winning side of the rivalry. Is this Diego Pavia delusion rubbing off on everybody else in Nashville right now, where Vanderbilt all of a sudden thinks that they are somehow some sort of elite program? Because they're not. This is very, very weird to see him do this. And where is this coming from? Because I don't think this is just Jordan Matthews anymore. I think it's coming from the top. And I'm going to set that up as the poll question. Jordan Matthews talking trash to Tennessee is bitterness over having to transfer, Diego Pavia rubbing off on him, or, and this is the big one, coming from the top, coming from part of a Vandy delusion Clark Lee created. There, we'll say that. Jordan Matthews is talking trash to Tennessee is bitterness over having to transfer, Diego Pavia rubbing off on him, or a Vandy delusion Clark Lee created. I'm going with the Vandy delusion that Clark Lee created. Because now that it's come from Diego Pavia and Jordan Matthews, many of you guys will say that Diego Pavia is rubbing off on him or that Jordan Matthews is bitter over having to transfer. But I think that Jordan Matthews is talking like this. I think Clark Lee is making Vanderbilt feel this way. He's trying to install some moxie. And look, right now, Vanderbilt, to their credit, is undefeated and Tennessee is not. Vanderbilt hasn't had to play Georgia. So maybe he's saying because we're undefeated and Tennessee has a loss, as if that means anything. Come on, guys. This is hilarious to think about. But Jordan Matthews talking the way he is, I think is honestly shocking. You wonder if it's a tactic to get into Tennessee's head of Tennessee being like, maybe we don't know how good Vanderbilt is. Look, I will give Vanderbilt this. I told you guys earlier, and I haven't talked about this too much. I had a bad week gambling last week. We'll get to that in a minute. But I picked Georgia State to cover against Vanderbilt last week because anybody that's ever covered Vanderbilt football for a long time knows they have had years where they started off pretty decent in September, rolled off a couple of nice wins. And every time they did that, they would always have a game towards the end of September or in early October against a really bad team where they would look horrible and really reveal who they were. The most notable one I can remember that was so interesting to me was actually the 2005 team, the one that, funny enough, beat Tennessee. That was Jay Cutler's last year at Vanderbilt that year. Now, that Vanderbilt team, for those who don't remember, had started the year under Bobby Johnson 4-0. They had beaten Wake Forest on the road. They had beaten Arkansas on the road. They had beaten Ole Miss at home, and they had beaten Richmond at home. They were 4-0. The path to a bowl game was clear. They were set to host MTSU the next week, and they get a field goal blocked and lose to MTSU. And because of that, they ended up finishing 5-6 and not making a bowl because they lost the next 6 games and then beat Tennessee at the end of the year. But had they won that game, they would have made a bowl, and they barely lost to Kentucky and Florida late in the year. That Vanderbilt team easily should have been 8-3, but it was good old Vandy football. And also, as we know now, Jay Cutler has no moxie, and Jay Cutler was not a winner. But this type of talking by Vanderbilt just makes no sense, and it's really weird to me. What the H, again, brought to you by Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. Looking for affordable game day jewelry, a Tennessee tradition. RickTerryJewelry.com, RickTerryJewelry.com.
Having been in the jewelry industry for a long time in the Knoxville community, I saw a need for a jeweler, a real jeweler.
Our ability to do these designs has really been based on the customers bringing new things in and challenging us as a store. Our goal is not to tell anybody what they want. Our goal is to listen to what they want and then help them get there.
Schedule your consultation today to get your special someone the perfect custom gift just in time for the holidays.
The poll question up, Jordan Matthews talking trash to Tennessee is 27% of you say bitterness over his transfer, 27% of you say Diego Pavia rubbing off on him, and 45% of you say a Vandy delusion that Clark Lee created. You guys think it is a culture problem at Vandy. Wow. And I'm honest, if I'm being honest, I'm not so sure you guys are wrong on that, okay? I think that it very well could be a culture problem at Vanderbilt. And with that in mind, I just don't know how they overcome that. Because truth be told, if it's a culture problem at Vandy, then either they are just planting the seed in everybody's head and they're shocking everybody because they truly know how good they are. Clark Lee doesn't have, it's not like he lacks Power 5 experience. He was at Notre Dame. Or this is a way to just talk themselves into being great. I mean, look, this happens in sports. Sports is a lot like business, by the way. For those of you who don't know how a lot of businesses operate, this has been a skill, and most famous business people that are like wealthy, like magnates, and I'm talking about the Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, those guys. They built their brand, but for the most part, even if it was based on a company like Jeff Bezos with Amazon, they were hemorrhaging money. The whole concept of business was fake it till you make it. Make people believe your business is more valuable than it is, and make people believe you're wealthier than you are. And eventually, you will have the cash flow to be as wealthy as you say you are. Sports sometimes works that way, by the way. Make people believe you're better than you are. And as you start to win some games, you will develop some confidence. And eventually, teams will be nervous to play you. And you will have the confidence to win. And winning becomes a culture. It's not that different, honestly. I mean, it's kind of like, they'll believe in yourself. I mean, that is kind of true. So when you take that into account, yeah, make people believe that. And I think, honestly, when you're looking at these two teams, when you're looking at Vanderbilt, I think that's the Clark Lee model. Is he wants teams to believe that he's better than he is. He wants to believe that he's he wants his team to believe it. He wants other teams he's facing to believe it at the same time. And so when you take all that into account, I got to be honest with you, I firmly believe this is a culture problem that Vandy has created, and Clark Lee wants this all out there. This is how he's living, this is how he's doing, and this is how he's moving in these college football streets. Portions of the program are brought to you by Peak IV Hydration in South Knoxville and Sevierville. Live your life to the fullest. Hydrate, rejuvenate, and elevate your health with Peak IV Hydration. PeakIVHydration.com. Link is in the chat. It is time for the stat of the day, and the stat of the day is this. Joey Aguilar has 12 total touchdowns through his first 4 games of the season. That ties Peyton Manning in 1997, the greatest season in history by a Tennessee football quarterback. I get the Hendon Hooker stuff, but Peyton Manning's 97 season is the greatest individual season ever by a Tennessee football player in history. And it ties Peyton Manning for the 3rd most touchdown passes in the first 4 games of the season. Also ties Tyler Bray in 2012, where the offense, by the way, the 2012 offense put up historic numbers with Tyler Bray, just the defense was horrible. Now, in front of them are, believe it or not, Tyler Bray in 2011, when he threw 14 touchdown passes and then got hurt, and then Heath Schuler in 1993 when he threw 13 touchdown passes early. And if you actually look at some advanced metrics, FPI, SP Plus, and things like that, the 93 Tennessee team might have been the best team of the 90s in terms of pure talent. Stat of the day is brought to you by Joe Neubert Collision Center. For nearly 50 years, Neubert Collision Center has been East Tennessee's best choice for quality repair work and fantastic customer service. JoeNeubertCollision.com, JoeNeubertCollision.com. When we come back, Lane Kiffin slid into Sidney Thomas's DMs in our Week 5 picks and bets. Stick with us, 2 minutes off the hook sports.
A beacon of hope in a world of high prices. Look to the skies, Knoxville. Super savings is here. Ted Russell Ford is East Tennessee's #1 Volume 4 dealer.
Right now, get 0% APR, 0 down, and 0 payments for 90 days on select models, plus 2 years complimentary maintenance.
Come see the super dealer today at either Ted Russell Ford location, Parkside Drive, or Kingston Pike.
Sports Treasures in North Knoxville is one of the South's largest sports cards and memorabilia dealers, featuring over 10 million sports cards from vintage to modern. Sports Treasures carries a full line of hobby boxes, singles, autographed memorabilia, Tennessee Vols collectibles, fan cave decorations, and so much more. See a museum full of collectibles at Sports Treasures, 4819 North Broadway in Fountain City, and Sports Treasures on Facebook. Sports Treasures, where the real sports fan goes to shop.
Community banking is about location and much more. It's about family. We reside in your community. We are a part of your community. At Commercial Bank, our commitment extends beyond the walls of our branches. It's displayed each day in the opportunities we provide, the money we give back, and the time we commit, all to help improve the lives of the people, families, and businesses that make our communities great. Commercial Bank, life made better.
Now in its 45th year, the second and third generations continue Joe Neubert's commitment.
His vision of what this business needed to be, we still try to live up to that.
Joe Neubert Collision Center.
Are you ready to get strong? At NFC, we offer top-notch weight training and functional fitness, so you can build strength and improve your performance. Join today at nfc1.com or stop by any one of our 7 East Tennessee locations.
Welcome back to the program. Off the Hook Sports portions of the program are brought to you by Quality Tire Pros, serving Chattanooga community since 1957. All major brands of tires, full service automotive brake alignments, oil changes, and more. QualityTirePros.com. Walk in and say, "Hey, Bo, Off the Hook Sports sent you." QualityTirePros.com. Let's have a little fun, shall we? And I might get some complaints about talking about this because everybody loves when I just talk about things on the field, but I like salacious SEC football news. I do. I love the story of Lane Kiffin's daughter dating a LSU player the week before the Ole Miss LSU game. I also love this one. All right. This is the best one of the week to talk about. Sydney Thomas, the WWE star, has revealed which head coach slid into her DMs. That's right. Sydney Thomas said an SEC coach had slid into her DMs. Now, that was back in January. And Lane Kiffin trolled and took a retweet and suggested it was Nick Saban. Well, it turns out that it might have been Lane Kiffin himself who slid into her DMs. Thomas was asked, while submerged in a cold tub, who's the craziest celebrity to hit on you, and tell the story. She answered, I'd say Lane Kiffin, another SEC football coach, slid in with Roll Tide, and he's the coach of Ole Miss. Yes, I kid you not, Sydney Thomas says that Lane Kiffin was the one who slid into her DMs and and was trying to hit on her. For those who don't know, Sydney Thomas is a WWE star. She is an Alabama alum. She is 21 years old. Okay, 21 years old, and Lane Kiffin to slid into her DMs. Now she's not necessarily. I should take that back. She's not a full on just WWE star. She's a ring star. She's a ring girl, is what you say. She's a ring girl. Excuse me, not a WWE star. I need to correct that. Sydney Thomas is a ring girl. She was an internet sensation because she was the ring girl for the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. Her social media following exploded when that happened. This was on the Like a Farmer podcast in January, where she said an SEC football coach messaged her online. She said at the time, quote, it was from another SEC football team coach, and they just DM'd me Roll Tide. I'm not going to say which coach it was, but they're an Alabama fan now. At least we'll let everyone figure out for themselves who it was. Lane Kiffin did do a retweet suggesting it might have been Nick Saban, but Thomas then on Netflix's Inside USA was asked the crazy celebrity to hit on her, and she said Lane Kiffin. And she said another SEC football coach slid in with Roll Tide, and he's the coach of Ole Miss. So Sydney Thomas confirms that Lane Kiffin slid into her DMs. He just DM'd her Roll Tide. But guys, I'm just going to be honest. I think Lane Kiffin was hitting on her. Lane Kiffin's a Leo DiCaprio of college football coaches. He likes the younger party girls. So let me ask you guys this question. Did Lane Kiffin slide when he said roll? Maybe some of you younger people don't know what it means to say slide. Slide or slid actually means like hitting on somebody. So was Lane Kiffin hitting on Sydney Thomas when he DM'd her roll tide? You guys go ahead and ask that. And I'm going to say yes. And here's going to come a bank on it. And it's brought to you by Commercial Bank. Member FDIC, life made better. Bank on it. Lane is going to be publicizing his chases of girls very soon. I get he's in a relationship right now. I understand that. Okay. But he did take a picture with his ex-wife last year. And I don't know if his new girl, I don't know if he's married. I think it's just, no, Lane Kiffin is currently not dating anyone. He reconciled with Layla Kiffin, his ex-wife, last weekend. So Lane Kiffin is not dating anyone right now. So bank on it. Brought to you by Commercial Bank, member FDIC, life made better. Lane Kiffin, very, very soon, is going to be publicizing his escapades with women out of entertainment because he knows it will make everybody go crazy, and because he can do it because he's single. That's bank on it.
Commercial Bank is your neighborhood bank. What makes us different from other banks? We understand that every customer has unique opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. We don't expect you to fit into the same box as the next person or business. Whether it's purchasing a home, saving for your child's future, or planning for your next vacation, we're with you every step of the way to navigate life's big decisions. Commercial Bank, life made better.
All right, here's how this is all going to play out. You know, Lane Kiffin's got a big game this Saturday against LSU. It's now Thursday, so I don't know if he's even paying attention to what Sydney Thomas said. He might tweet a snide comment here or there at some point. The weekend's going to come. Ole Miss is going to play LSU. I'll give you my prediction for that game in a second. And then after the weekend, Lane Kiffin is going to publicly announce and acknowledge that it was him who slid into Sydney Thomas's DMs and he was being a troll. Because Ole Miss has a bye after LSU. They get a week off before hosting Washington State. After the bye, so after the LSU game, Lane Kiffin will spend the time off. It's perfect timing. He's going to comment on everything. He's going to comment on him sliding into Sydney Thomas's DMs. He's going to comment further on his daughter dating an LSU player. He might troll him too if he wins. After that happens, here's how this is all going to play out. Lane Kiffin, by the end of this year, will be throwing little snide tweets left and right about his publicizing his dating life and his interests and things like that. And by the start of next year, Lane Kiffin won't be sliding into DMs anymore. Lane Kiffin will be publicly saying and commenting on young, attractive women in their 20s who are SEC girls, wherever they go. He's going to comment, hey, DM me. Let's talk. Let's go hang out. And he'll start publicizing his chasing of women. And here's going to be the funny part. Lane Kiffin will be the SEC bachelor. He's going to become the SEC. I'm making all these predictions right now, guys. Lane Kiffin will become the SEC bachelor, and he's going to get a Netflix reality show of SEC co-eds, in a competition to date Lane Kiffin. That's what's going to happen. I don't know if it'll go that far, but I bet it'll get close. That's going to be Lane Kiffin's future, is the SEC bachelor. Lane Kiffin is going to be the SEC bachelor going forward, and it's always going to be with co-eds in their 20s. The question is, if you're a successful SEC coach, and Lane is there that much game into wooing SEC co-eds in their 20s? You probably got a lot of options at that point. I've told you guys my theory. And I love this comment, by the way, by Steve Sullivan. It could have been Sam Pittman sliding in. All right. So Lane Kiffin is awkward but very confident at the same time. And I think that combined with him being successful and a good coach does land well. I've also said, look, Lane Kiffin takes shots at Hugh Freeze because Lane Kiffin, it was rumored, wanted the Auburn job. I don't think that's the case. I think he doesn't like Hugh Freeze because Hugh Freeze is the ultimate, I'm moral and I am the pastor and I'm holier than thou, yes, and you guys should all listen to me. And don't be sinful and don't live sinful lives, yes. And then he goes and has prostitutes galore and is a snake and a liar. And Lane Kiffin doesn't like Lane Kiffin is a California live and let live kid, likes to party, a little bit of a heathen. Lane Kiffin is an open heathen coming from California, and he doesn't like the whole Southern fake pastor while having a bunch of prostitutes on the side people. And so he has a big resentment to Hugh Freeze over that. So the true reason I don't think Lane Kiffin ended up with the Auburn job, I think he might have bombed the interview a little bit because I don't think Lane Kiffin wants to go to Auburn. Because I've told you guys this for a while. Auburn is a better job than Ole Miss, but not by much. Not like Alabama or Tennessee or Florida or any of those other schools would be. Not by much. And also, Oxford's a way nicer town than Auburn. And Oxford co-eds, your options are better than they are when you're at Auburn. Just saying. Unsung says, wouldn't be surprised if Chris Hansen caught Kiffin. Oh my gosh. I'm not going there. That is completely, everybody Lane Kiffin has dated, to our knowledge, has been legal. But I am going to ask this question, and this may be the proper question. Who is creepier with their who is creepier with their relationships? Bill Belichick or Lane Kiffin? You guys debate on that. Who is creepier with their relationships? Bill Belichick or Lane Kiffin? I'm actually still probably leading Bill Belichick. Okay, homeboy's like 74, but hey, look, he, it's at least one. I actually might like the age gap with Bill Belichick is creepier, but at the same time, Lane Kiffin, the way he's so public about things and the way he jokes about the fact that he's dating girls younger than his daughter. I mean, the fact that he openly jokes about that, it's kind of a little weirder because Lane Kiffin's so open about it. I'm going to say that's what's somewhat weirder when it comes to it. But I'm just telling you guys this right now. Lane Kiffin, the Lane train is a real thing. And gotta say, I think Lane is sliding and is serious about it. And I mean, homeboy is what, 40? Let's see, he was born in he's 50 this year, I believe. I think he's 50 this year. So yeah, Lane Kiffin might be having a bit of a midlife crisis too, or maybe he lived so young through most of his life, he decided that he wants to, instead of having a midlife crisis, actually be the mature one and except he's getting older more than people in their 50s do, and that's why he is talking to his ex-wife. I'm just kidding. That's not Lane Kiffin. Who am I joking? All right, portions of the program are brought to you by the UPS Store Hardin Valley, helping individuals and small businesses, wide range of products and services, locally owned and operated, 10629 Hardin Valley Road, 10629 Hardin Valley Road. It is time for our picks and bets for this week in college football. Man, I was making a comeback. Things were going well, and then last week happened, and I went 1-4 on my best bets and 8-16 overall. My worst week since I've taken over at Tennessee. I've taken over covering these games, and it was brutal. I am now 9-16 overall, 63-60. I'm 9-16 on my best bets, 63-60 overall. But we're coming back, baby. We're coming back. Let's get rolling. It's time for the comeback, and I'm doing it right now. And we are going to go again with SEC games. Now, there are 3 SEC teams on byes this week. There are another 3 that play non-conference games. Okay. The other 10 are playing each other. That gives us 8 SEC games to pick overall, plus 2 top 25 games. And in my best bets, I've got another 2 games that aren't on the list at all that you guys are going to want to pay attention to. Actually, 3. So we have 13 games to pick overall. I'm going unlucky for my lucky picks to bring us back, baby. We're getting rich this week. So let's talk about it. All right, best picks. Let's go. We start with Arkansas, Notre Dame. And by the way, this is going to be before I go any further, this is going to be hot or cold, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, 50 years in East Tennessee. Integrity matters. cityheatandair.com, cityheatandair.com. We are going to talk about the SEC teams, and I will say this. I'll say, going down the SEC list, am I hot on them covering or am I cold on them covering? That's how we're going to play hot or cold, and then I'll just give you my overall picks with them. So let's go hot or cold. City Heating and Air Conditioning. We start Arkansas, Notre Dame. Notre Dame, a 4.5-point favorite. Arkansas, I'm hot on Arkansas covering. I'm hot on Arkansas covering plus 4.5. They've lost 2 heartbreakers. They are at home. I don't think they're going to win. This is Sam Pittman. He will find a way to lose it in the end, but he will put up a fight against Notre Dame at home because that's what Arkansas does. They still have a great offense. That'll be enough for them. And Notre Dame's great offense, by the way, which is balling right now, to hit the game is easily going to hit the over. The game is easily going to hit the over 64.5. I think this will be the highest scoring game in college football this weekend. Arkansas plus 4.5 against Notre Dame. The over 64.5. Notre Dame's going to win this game 45-42 because that's what they do against Arkansas. But I'm definitely taking Arkansas plus 4.5. Offensive galore still comes because Utah State and Vanderbilt. I did it last week and I paid for it. And I'm not going to learn my lesson. I'm sticking with it this week. I believe at some point the law of averages will even out in Vanderbilt. We'll have that game where you're like, after all the hype is behind them and they're like, what the heck just happened to us? It'll be Utah State this week. Utah State has one loss. It was to Texas A&M by 22 on the road. If they can lose to Texas A&M if they can come within 23 of Texas A&M, they can come within 23 of Vanderbilt. So I'm cold on Vanderbilt, who is favored by 23.5 in this game. So I'm taking Utah State plus 23.5, and it'll come down to the scoring, which is why they kept it a shootout with Texas A&M. So I'm definitely taking the over at 58.5 because Utah State has a really good offense. So I'm definitely high on the over with that one. Ole Miss LSU. Ole Miss minus 1.5. I am hot on Ole Miss covering against LSU. I actually would have picked LSU earlier in the year, but LSU has looked ugly except for their one game against an FCS school, and their quality win now is at Clemson, and truth be told, Clemson is not a good football team. So when you take those things into account, I got to say Ole Miss is the better team. Ole Miss minus 1.5 at LSU. I got Ole Miss winning. I also, though, even though Ole Miss has been scoring a lot, I got the under at 54.5. I think it'll be a defensive struggle because LSU's offense is an issue, but LSU's defense will not let Ole Miss do what they typically do. So I think it'll be an ugly game, and LSU will make a couple of mistakes late, and that's enough for LSU to win 20-19. And Lane Kiffin is always good enough to get a huge win each year anyway, and where his guys get totally up for. And Ole Miss is at home, by the way. I'm going to say that. Ole Miss is at home. Lane Kiffin will get Ole Miss totally focused on this game. Ole Miss will win. They will cover, but the game will hit the under. I'm hot on Ole Miss. Now, by the way, when it's games involving 2 SEC teams, I just tell you if I'm hot or cold on the favorite. Or if it's game involving no SEC teams, I tell you if I'm hot or cold on the favorite. All right. Auburn at Texas A&M. Texas A&M favored by 6.5. I'm cold on Texas A&M covering that. Even though they're coming off a bye, I think Auburn's very upset about what happened last week. I think they rebound with Jackson Arnold, and I think they light it up at Texas A&M. I think it's a very close game. Texas A&M may still win, but Auburn keeps it within 6.5. I think it's a shootout over 52.5. It'll be over 52.5. Texas A&M's defense is suspect. Auburn's offense is good. It's not an Oklahoma Brent Venables defense they're facing this week. So I'm seeing Texas A&M probably win this game 35-31. Something like that. Maybe even 31-28, truth be told. But it'll be a close game like that. Texas A&M wins, but Auburn does cover. Missouri favored by 43.5 over UMass. I'm hot on Missouri covering, guys. I know it's 43.5, but UMass is horrible. And I'm with the over 56.5. Eli Drinkwitz loves to run up the score against these teams. He loves to run up the score, and because of that, he's going to do that here. Missouri is going to win this game 65-3. They're going to hit the over on their own, the over 56.5. So I'm huge on Missouri. Kentucky at South Carolina. Kentucky plus 5.5. Couple of reasons. Kentucky, I think, found their quarterback 2 weeks ago after benching Zach Calzada. So I think Kentucky is going to cover at South Carolina. Kentucky plus 5.5. South Carolina, Lenore Sellers still seems to be struggling. He threw well from the pocket last week, but he still is not mobile. That's an issue, particularly against the Mark Stoops defense. So I think Kentucky plus 5.5 is a big one. They might actually win this game, and the game's definitely going to hit the under. Kentucky's quarterback switch didn't actually make their passing game that much better offensively. They did drop 48 on Eastern Michigan, but not because of that. They won't drop that much on South Carolina, and South Carolina's offense is right now atrocious with Lenore Sellers not at 100%. I'm seeing a maybe 20-16 South Carolina win. It's one of those ugly old school SEC games. I'm just going to say that, but I'm Kentucky plus 5.5. All right, the biggest SEC games of the week. Well, I already named one, Ole Miss and LSU, but for Tennessee fans, the other one beyond Tennessee, and I'm going to go to Tennessee after this, Georgia and Alabama. I'm Georgia minus 3.5, and I'm taking the over 52.5. There's still questions about Alabama's defense, Alabama's offense. Even though I'm high on them and Kalen DeBoer, and I think they'll right the ship, I have to really draw back what I saw from them against Wisconsin, because then Wisconsin got blown up by Maryland. That's just a bad football team. Okay, but I do think both quarterbacks are very good, so I actually might see a shootout in this one. The over-under is 52.5. I think Georgia wins this game 31-24. So hits the over and they cover. And finally, Tennessee at Mississippi State. I've been saying this for Tennessee every week. I'm saying it again. Take the over more than anything. Take the over. The over 63 is huge. Over 63.5, is huge. Tennessee will cover against Mississippi. I mean, the game will hit the over, and Tennessee's going to cover against Mississippi State. Tennessee's going to cover the 7.5. I know. I picked Mississippi State to upset Tennessee at the beginning of the year. I always reserve the right to change my picks. Two things have changed my picks. One, the game is not at night like I thought it would be. Gives Tennessee a bit of an advantage for a road game. Two, and more importantly, Tennessee lost to Georgia. See, I thought Tennessee would have beaten Georgia. They'd be riding high, feeling themselves going to visit Mississippi State, a team I thought would be 4-0, feeling confident. But now that Tennessee lost to Georgia and Mississippi State's undefeated, Tennessee's not going to overlook this game. And as a result, they will cover the 7.5 point spread. Now, a couple of non-SEC games to get to. USC at Illinois over 60.5. I hate Illinois. I picked them to beat Indiana last week, and they embarrassed me. And because of that, I'm picking USC at 6.5 to cover, even though it's at Illinois. And be careful. Watch out. USC's offense is quietly returning to form under Lincoln Riley, and you can see that with what they've been doing. So I'm very big on that. And I'm taking the over because USC's offense has been balling recently, and we just saw what Illinois allowed Indiana to do to them. So USC will do it too. So USC will hit the over 60.5 maybe on their own. If not, it'll be a 56-17 game, something like that. I'm done with Illinois after last week. I'm so angry at them. All right, now next, and finally, the game I have to call, Oregon at Penn State. Penn State's favored by 3.5. Do people know Penn State's track record in big games under James Franklin? Give me those 3.5. Oregon plus 3.5. I'm definitely taking that, and I'm taking the over because even though Oregon's played, these are the two top 10 teams that have played nobody. Both of them have played absolutely nobody, had the easiest schedule possible. Neither of them is in my top 10 at this point. One of them will get there probably this weekend, and I think whatever happens, Oregon will take them plus 3.5 at Penn State, take plus the 3.5. I'm going with the over in this one, even though it's at Penn State where games would be a little bit uglier than if they were at Oregon. I'm going over 51.5. I think that's a bit low, and I think Oregon's offense has shown that they can score, even though it's been against lesser competition. So I think the offense of Oregon will force Penn State's offense to step up, and they will, and I think that will push this game to the over. But who's going to win? I actually have a take on that very, very, very soon. First off, Hot or Cold brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. 50 years in East Tennessee. Integrity matters. CityHeatandAir.com. CityHeatandAir.com.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air. Dare to compare.
All right, our best picks of the week, our best bets. It's time to make a comeback, and here are our 5 biggest ones. First, the best cover of the week. I was hesitant to do this, but I'm going to do it. Ole Miss minus 1.5 over LSU. I think Ole Miss at home is just, this is the type of game that Lane Kiffin gets his kids ready for. They're going to win this game. They're going to cover. They're going to win. I think maybe fairly comfortably, honestly. Ole Miss is going to cover against LSU. The best under of the week, though, or the best underdog of the week to pick, not straight up, but to cover, TCU plus 3.5 at Arizona State. I don't really get this one. Arizona State has looked awful so far. They're 3-1, and they haven't looked good really in many of their games. I mean, their best one was a 27-24 win at Baylor, which wasn't bad, but it wasn't that impressive. And this is a Friday night matchup. TCU going to Arizona State. I think TCU is going to cover the 3.5. They might pull the upset, honestly, but TCU is undefeated. We really shouldn't be sleeping on them. Blew out North Carolina to start the year and then beat SMU 35-24. I really am high on TCU. And so I'm TCU plus 3.5 at Arizona State on this one. My over of the week, BYU Colorado. I think Prime has his quarterback now. He has his offense kind of rolling. And even though he's 2-2, they dropped 37 on Wyoming last week. And even though they only dropped 20 on Houston in a loss, they did drop 37 on Wyoming. Kaidon Salter is, I think, clearly the quarterback for this team. And so I thought he should have been starting the whole time. And with that in mind, I think they will be fine offensively against BYU. Meanwhile, and they're playing at home, which will help. Meanwhile, BYU's offense has been pretty good. So, I mean, they dropped 69 in their opener. It was against Portland State, but they can score. So taking that into it, I think this over under 48.5. Guys, come on. I'm taking the over on that. It's going to be way more high scoring than that. All right, but here's the best one. Let's get ready for this. And we'll have some fun. Everybody likes to hate watch Nico Iamaleava. And you guys should hate watch him again this week, even as UCLA, coming off a bye, is going to play with an interim head coach, Tim Skipper. Tino Sinceri still the offensive coordinator. My under of the week, and this might be my best bet of the week, period. UCLA at Northwestern, the under 44.5. I might take the under 30 in this one. You guys ready for some stats? UCLA is averaging 14 points per game with Nico Iamaleava. 14 points per game. Meanwhile, Northwestern is allowing 21 points per game and only averaging 19 points per game. 19 points per game Northwestern is allowing. This is going to be an ugly football game, a hideous one where both offenses are trash. And it's at Northwestern, I believe. Now the weather's going to be nice in Chicago this weekend. So, but oh my gosh, I think this is going to be the ugliest game to watch of the weekend. And I think a bunch of turnovers galore with two bad offenses, and you're going to see the under 44.5 hit because of how bad the offenses are. David Braun in his third year at Northwestern. Oh, that one's going to be ugly. That one's going to be ugly. So take the under in that one. So take the under 44.5. Again, I see a 10-7 game, and whoever wins 10-7 is going to be like, oh my God, we won the game 10-7. Yay, what a thrilling win. It was a tough gun and all win. It's like, no, you just lucked it out against a really, really, really bad team. That's what I'm seeing with that. All right. My money line pick of the week, Oregon. I'm back to Oregon. Oregon at Penn State. Penn State in big games. Who trusts them? I don't. You don't. Nobody does. Oregon's going to beat Penn State. That's my money line of the week. I can't even believe they're underdogs. Take Oregon to beat Penn State. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney. Play to win. Why settle? Banks & Jones are by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com. We broadcast live from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln studio. Ted Russell Ford Lincoln is your home for the finest vehicles in Knoxville. New and used, East Tennessee's largest Ford and Lincoln volume dealer. Thank you guys all for tuning in today. Hit that like and subscribe button, ring the bell, turn on your notifications, tell a friend. Building something great here at Off the Hook Sports wants you to be a part of it. We'll be back tomorrow to discuss more Tennessee football coverage and this weekend's matchup against Mississippi State, their final one before they go on a bye. Thank you guys all for tuning in today with Caleb Calhoun. This has been a presentation of Off the Hook Sports.